Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zone, as I get right home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's there in Alabama. I'm glad to be back there. You can also find us on Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And our favorite radio station, even folks in Alabama are listening to this station. I found that out. And this comes from our guys on the morning show. They were talking about that. They said, why are we all of a sudden getting all of these calls and people calling into the show? And that's Benji and Lacey in the morning, Southern Fried Morning Show. He said, why are all of a sudden folks in Alabama calling in? So I sent Benji a text. Do you think I might have a little something to do with that? So anyway, you can listen to them online. They play the old stuff. And so it's pretty cool. And now my idea of the old stuff is going to be the 70s stuff, the 70s country things. But they even go back further than that. Some of the old Hank Williams, like the original Hank Williams and Hank Williams Jr. as well. But you can find a lot of that good stuff. And I really do like it. It's none of the bro country stuff. They don't do that. They just want the country, whatever it sounds like. And there's some great artists that are out there right now. I wanted to mention that. So not only hearing from folks my era, you're also hearing from some of the younger folks that do true country music. So again, thank you guys for letting us be part of that. And also continue sending email. It really makes my day. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. I have Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey with me. They are with the Alabama Fair Tax. And so many interesting things are happening now. This election, is going to be coming up. And you hear a lot of people. I'll put it to you this way. I would only vote for somebody who sits down for 10 minutes and really listens to Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey about what Alabama Fair Tax can do for the state.
Yep, and we'd enjoy doing it.
Yeah, we really appreciate people like you, Donna. You got it the first time you heard it, but a lot of people don't have trouble understanding the fair tax. Mike Huckabee is another one. He read the book on an airplane and got off and was an advocate for it, and actually ran on it when he ran for president.
Became an expert on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we really appreciate the fact that you are an advocate for it. So,
well, I don't even understand anybody that doesn't own a business of any size, whether it's small, medium, or large, why you would not be for fair tax. I don't get it.
Beyond me, but it's the old problem of, well, that's not the way we've been doing all these years now.
It's not working. What's doing it now doesn't work.
What's the scheme here that they're trying to pull on me to take more money from me? And that's the problem. It's the intimidation that's been so successful over the years and indoctrination that you got to have an income tax or you just can't make the country go.
Well, you also have the fact that you have people who don't want the fair tax for various reasons because of power, for one thing. It's a good way to control people if you control everything they do. And if you do it in little segments, it's an easier way to do it. We bought some solar panels, and we bought them on December 30th.
Because still you use your head, and then you write that off from your taxes, and then there
exactly.
You go.
I don't like being manipulated that way, but I'm willing to save money. I'm willing to save money, any way we can. So it's unfortunate that we are willing to let people direct us the way that we do. And there are a lot of, like I said, a lot of politicians who derive power from taxing, because they can say, we don't want to tax you. We want to tax the person behind the tree. And again, they go out and plant trees the next day. But the other thing is that if they can, it can be used for engineering, just social engineering. You can make people do things that they wouldn't normally do, that aren't necessarily in their best interests, but you can do it with taxing something.
The people of Alabama can get a firsthand lesson of that in this session, because Anthony Daniels, who is a Democrat, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, got a bill through that says there's no more income tax on overtime up to some value. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay, we'll do that, and we'll reconcile that in 25 to see how it works out. And so when the 2025 session rolled around, they said, yeah, we want to drop it. So now he's back in the pit saying, no, we got to put that back into place, because all of my people did a lot better when they didn't have to pay income tax on their overtime pay. So that's the kind of machination that goes on every year because of the stupid system, the way it's set up. Get rid of that garbage, pay your tax when you buy stuff, and you're done with it. You don't have all this. The legislature can then go think of other things that they need to help the people of Alabama with.
I wanted to mention a guy. He's from Alabama, and to me, this guy is the perfect person running for office. I wish he would run again. And this guy he should have been elected. His name is Tommy Haynes, and he's from up in North Alabama. And I hold that guy in total regard. You don't hear me saying that often about politicians. You know that. Yeah. And this guy, what he said, he made happen. Yeah. Or he tried to. Most of the people he had against him were people in his own party.
That's right.
And I was telling you, he was on my show one time. They were talking about the gas taxes. Well, Mrs. Ivy, your governor there, wanted the gas taxes. Well, he was going against it. He said, no, people of tax death don't need it. And he was fair tax, by the way.
He was.
That. So I told him after the show, I said, you just put a nail in your coffin. And he said, I probably did. He knew exactly what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. He said, I got to do what's right. This is, and that's why he didn't stay in office long. So they put this patsy up there running against him the last time. Well, guess what? The patsy won, because whoever was in control was actually, for that person, because he's not going to stand for anything. Tommy Haynes would just stand against it. I mean, and I was involved with him. Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used Car Sales is one of my sponsors. And this is the kind of person you want in office. So let me tell you about this. A lot of people, during the COVID years, and Bobby was just feeding a bunch of people, and he was going to different areas of Alabama. And Tommy even went to areas that he was not even in his district. That would really not pay off anything for him. Because most people just want, well, what's it going to pay off for me? That's why I'll go do it. He went to all of these areas that had nothing to do with his district. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of guy he is. He wanted to help everybody.
Yeah, we can't have those kind of people in the government.
Yeah, we miss him. By the way, he is I wish he would run again. I really do, because
I'm gonna tell you what, I love his dad, Pops. Pops is such a cool guy, because and Pops and I just hit it off because I love to fish. And so I met Pops. He brought Pops with him to an event one time, and he said, I hear you like to fish. And I said, can we go now? And then I asked Tommy, I said, I'm going to hang out with Pops just one day, just me and him. Let's go fishing. And I said, but when's the best day to go fishing? And he said, you know what Pops is going to say? And I said, what? And he said, any day's a good day for fishing. So we never did get that fishing trip. But anyway, Tommy comes from a great family. Okay, so his dad, you stand for your beliefs. Pops believes in standing for your beliefs. Yeah. And so Tommy was raised with that kind of a guy, and he brought that in to his elected field. Was it District 24?
Yeah. Guess where the speaker's from?
Yeah, the same area. But there's I'm going to say this. There's a stark difference between Nathaniel Ledbetter and Tommy Haynes.
Yes. Yeah. We were in a meeting one time with Richie Horton, who is also an advocate for the fair tax. Mm-hmm.
Tommy and Richie and Mary Lynn and I and Nathaniel Ledbetter, briefing him up on what the Alabama Economic Freedom Act is all about.
Yeah, we talked to him about it, and he actually told us he would get a committee together to study it. And he doesn't know us anymore.
Haven't heard from him since.
Yeah. So when he sees us coming, he turns in the other direction.
You know what famous words for establishment politicians are? yeah, I'll get a committee on that and we'll sit down and we'll study it. You know what you might as well hear? No, we're not going to do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of knew that.
Because if you got like me on your first meeting, I was like, and I was drugged to your meeting. I didn't know y'all then. I mean, I was, and you drug me to this meeting. And I said, and I got like a million things I got going on right now. I can't, this is bad timing. And she goes, come with me to the meeting. So anyway, I came to the meeting. I got it right then. I mean, it's like,
yeah, you did.
I love it. I dig this. Let's do it.
Yeah, and that was about 10 or 11 years ago too.
Yeah, well, not only that, it was kind of late in the evening because yeah. So yeah, we were glad you came.
But it's easy to get if you own a business. I mean, it's easy even if you don't own a business. Wouldn't it be better just to pay your taxes, be done with it? I mean, because there are households that have to pay like thousands of dollars every year when they get their taxes done. They don't own a business. They work for the band, and people are paying out way more than they need to. And here's a lie of Satan itself. A lot of people will tell, and by the way, only get a conservative to do your taxes, okay? A conservative, don't get a liberal. So I've been lucky. I've had great people doing my taxes, and I've asked them all the same question. Am I better off if I'm working somewhere and I'm taxes being taken out of my check every week or whatever? Am I better off to pay more taxes in my paycheck or less?
Yeah, that's a real pet peeve of mine.
You want to answer that one because you're so good at it, Mary Lynn.
I don't like, as much as the interest rate is on every time you borrow money, I don't like giving an interest-free loan to the government. The government gets enough money from us without us giving it to them in advance. If you don't write a check on April 15th, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
If you think that's a savings account, you are giving money away.
And if you're real good, you'll have it right to the penny, so you don't have to pay that penalty stuff.
Yeah.
But even paying a little penalty is better than
we've paid penalties many times because
let me put a proposal out there. Okay, and this is something you can ask some of the people who are on the fence who are running for office. Okay, all right, you don't want to do fair tax. All right, then I got another proposal for you right here. Okay, so what if the IRS owes me money, which is going to be rare, but what if they owe me money at the end of the year? Can I get like interest and penalties on that if they're late paying me?
Nah.
Yeah, not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Well,
there was a bill. We were talking about property taxes before, and there was a bill passed in the state legislature to limit the increase in property tax to 7%
per year,
which means it's going to go up 7% every year. We can count on that. But before that, we lived here for 20 years before our taxes on our property taxes went up. So you can guarantee now that the property taxes are going to start going up. And so it won't be
7% times 10 years. You'd be basically paying 70%.
Yeah. Yeah, amortization is a little bit. It's actually more than that because you're paying 7%. You're raising 7% on what you were paying. So if you're paying $1, next year you'd pay $1.07, and then you'd pay 7% of it, more.
But that's not true. They can only raise it 7% if they go to the well and say we've got to raise taxes.
But the thing about it is now it's going to be top of mind.
They could if they wanted to, but they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that's it. Top of mind. That's a Corinne
Jean-Pierre. This is why we need term limits, because I promise you the ones that are in office that are getting all these paybacks are going to want to do it every year.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, it's human nature.
Yeah. But the thing with the fair tax is when you know how much you're paying in taxes because you're paying it every time you purchase something, the impetus on politicians is not going to be raising taxes on Joe over in the corner. It's going to be cutting taxes because they can say, well, we can cut your taxes more than, than my opponent will.
We can get the job done with less money.
With less money, yeah. So if you actually know how much you're paying in taxes, And it's not the amount of money is the check you have to write on April 15th. The amount of taxes, if you ever look at the bulk amount of taxes that you're paying, it's a whole lot more than what you think you're paying.
Well, some of our viewers have estimated they think it could be upwards of 70%.
Yes. Yeah. When you take the local, state, and national income taxes and sales taxes and everything, and you plus up everything you buy with that, you'll figure out, well, that car could have cost me $100, but I had to pay $1,000 for it.
Yeah. So if your fair tax is 10%, which replaces sales taxes and everything, all taxes basically except the excise taxes. If you're paying 10% and it goes to 11%, you'll know it happened. If it goes to 9%, you'll also know it happened. So who are you going to vote for?
The receipt has to say, here's the tax rate and here is the actual tax you pay.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the first time that you actually know how much tax you pay for anything you buy, because you got hidden taxes in there now under the income tax system, and you have no idea what the taxes are that's been paid on that product that you're paying for.
Yeah.
So with a fair tax, it'll be the first time that you'll know exactly what tax you're paying. And the brighter people start looking at it and saying, whoa, wait a minute, where is all this money going? And then you'll start getting people to start thinking about spending.
Where it's going. But and also we haven't addressed embedded taxes, which is kind of a hard concept.
Commercial break, and then I want to talk about embedded taxes.
Okay.
That's a nerve I've got. Okay, we'll be right. Well, one of them. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Good afternoon, Sunshine. Medical Minute brought to you by Dr. Chuck with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. So what is the Beamer? Okay, now the Beamer uses very gentle pulse to electromagnetic signals. This will stimulate healthy muscles and it supports the temporary blood flow. Now let's talk Beamer and circulation support. Now the Beamer gently supports natural circulation in healthy muscles. Now that's what I call natural health. Thank you so much for watching your Medical Minute, brought to you by Dr. Chuck. You know who he's with. He's with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the afternoon. You take care.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely mean it. You make my day. We're coming up on 21 years, and April 1st of this year, it's going to be 21 years that we've had the show. So I definitely appreciate you listening to me. And I mean, I can't believe we've got the support. I mean, just me. I mean, thank you so much. But it's not me. It's the guest we have. And so we have we got a great lineup. And Chuck and Marilyn Bailey you guys have been guests on the show for years. And so I appreciate everything you do to get the message out there. You know, to wake people up just a little bit, wake business owners up.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we've got with the
But we
business
appreciate
owners,
that.
with business owners, you get rid of a whole bunch of paperwork, because if you're supplying another business products or whatever, services and things for them to build into their product, and you don't pay the tax until retail, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So there's no business to business taxes, and so all of that paperwork goes away for these different businesses. The only people that collect taxes will be retailers, and they're only about, in the state of Alabama, they're only about 65,000. And so that goes from 2.2 million tax filers in the state of Alabama down to 65,000. So you know it's going to be easier to enforce, and it'll also be easier to enforce because you don't have all the paperwork. You fill out a form saying I sold so much product, here's the tax on it. I had somebody turn something back, and I got to get my taxes back on that because I paid that tax has already been paid. Boom, here it is. Here's what I owe you each month, or whatever the reporting period is for the size of company that it is.
One thing I love is John Linder used to say, hold up a blank sheet of paper and say, "This is my tax form for this year." For the fair tax. Yeah. So, but we were talking about embedded taxes, and embedded taxes are the taxes that are incorporated in your item, and they accumulate from the beginning, from, say, with bread, for instance, from the seed that is sown, in the
all the labor.
The tractors and everything that's bought. All of those taxes that are paid for Social Security and income tax, and it's just a cost of doing business. It's added on to the next stage, and it's essentially a VAT. I call it a virtual VAT because it's not. You just pass that on, and it's paid at the retail level, and the average embedded taxes for the national fair tax, the average is 22%, and the suggested the amount of taxes that would have to be collected in order to be revenue neutral is 23%. So basically, it's a 1% tax, and and also you don't have to. The only time you ever give information to the government, be it for taxes, is if you apply for the prebate, which is a refund of taxes up to the poverty level, and it's paid in advance. So people who are below the poverty level or at poverty level pay no taxes at all. If you spend, it's not earned. If you spend twice as much as the poverty level, you're only paying the tax is actually with the prebate is only what 11% is.
No, it's not that much.
It's
at the federal level, it's right around 8-9%.
Well, okay, and then at the state level, it's even less than that. It's like
3.2. It's little compared to.
So you're being refunded those taxes you pay the tax whenever you buy something at retail, but you are pre-funded, which means you get the money in advance each month to cover those taxes. And if you save that money, if you don't spend it, then it's your money.
Mhm.
There's only one form that you have to fill out to qualify for that, and every U.S. citizen and Alabama state resident for the Alabama Economic Freedom Act that has a verifiable Social Security number and a residence in the United States or Alabama, in the state of Alabama, you can sign up and get that prebate, and that's the only form you have to fill out.
There are people who like to remain anonymous, and they can do that, and so they don't have to sign up for it. And then you also have the people who are at the upper end of the earnings, who it's lunch money. So
It's not even that. One outing at the local restaurant.
Actually, we took our 3 grandchildren to dinner, to lunch, and
that was a shock.
It was a shock. So it cost more than we would have gotten back. But
sometimes folks will at the national level, you'll see frequently asked questions. Say, well, how am I going to account for this prebate? Do I have to keep forms and all that? They just don't get it. You sign up and you're qualified unless you're not a U.S. citizen with a proper Social Security number and a residence. You can get it, and you resubmit every year to prove your eligibility, and that's the only thing you have to do to get that.
What I like about this is it's friendly to United States citizens.
Yeah.
And I really do love that fact. But even if you are illegal, you're still paying less than you are back in your country, wherever it is you're from. I mean, it's still cheaper.
Yeah. You're paying taxes, but you're getting to pay what would usually be taken in by the income tax that you don't pay.
Yeah. Well, and also you have people coming from other countries for the federal fair tax. You have people coming from other countries that will be paying the tax, but they don't get the prebate. They don't get, in fact, and it's not refunded at the line. You pay it, and it's just thank you.
And then the question comes up: well, how are we going to make this revenue neutral when you're getting rid of all this money we've been collecting through the income tax previously? And well, you're going to get a lot of it by cost savings by not having all those people handling paper to collect the taxes.
Paper shufflers.
But the other thing is you go from, again, the story of you go from about 150 million income tax filers who are responsible for Medicare, Medicaid payments, all that stuff. So Social Security, income taxes, all that stuff goes away, and you figure out what the rate is. It would be revenue neutral, and that's 23%. And that's what you pay, and you're done when you pay for whatever you're spending on.
Yeah, and if you consider that Social Security and Medicare account for it, was it
35% of it?
Well, it's collected in the fair tax, but 16% is what's with your FICA is 16% of your income that you take home.
Yeah.
So just right there, you're saving money.
Yeah, the 35% I'm talking about.
More people are starting their own businesses. So like the people who won't have those jobs anymore, think about their insight. They could be wonderful business owners and make a lot more money and have less stress. Can you imagine what stress would be like on something like that? It would be horrible.
Yeah, it is stressful.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I was interested in the fair tax, is because I'm not very easy to be around in April, early April.
Folks, we're going to have to call it a day. One more way, how can folks find you guys and more information about fair tax?
Yes. Fairtax.org for the national and alfairtax.org for the state.
I can't believe the show's already over. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show with me. And thank you guys so much for watching. You're the reason we do what we do. We want to get the truth and information out there the best way we possibly can. And that's by having the world's best guest on this show. I'll go up against any other talk show host. But thank you guys again so much for being with us. You can find us on the internet. Also, I didn't tell you about this, donnasedge.com. You'll be able to find a whole lot of information there as well. But continue watching us. We definitely appreciate it. And continue sending email. It makes my day. Donna@donnasedge.com. And you can get free information about the book just by going online. Easy to do and on Audible. But again, thank you so much for being with us.